Hey everyone, I just want to give a quick update or status of this channel because some of y'all might have noticed certain things have changed and certain videos might be missing. And I kind of just want to give a quick description as to why that is and why at certain points I will kind of just disappear or not be as frequent on here from now on. So, as of right now, just recording this video in August of 2026, I just want everyone to understand that this channel is not something that I do full time anymore. I don't make money on this channel. I have never made money on this channel. And by making money, I mean like having a survivable, livable income. It's just not sustainable. And I'm getting older and I have health issues and they need to be taken care of. I know that a lot of people love what I do and I really appreciate that, but I can't be on here on my computer every day making videos to release every day at midnight. It's just not feasible. The electricity bill does not justify what money I don't make. You know, to put it this way, and I don't like to talk about finances, honestly, because people start to get weird. But to put it this way, I'm lucky if I make $100 each month on YouTube. You would make more money working at McDonald's or Whataburger or, the grocery store or at a liquor store than, trying to make some sort of living off of YouTube. The reason why I have made videos for, well over 10 years now, closer, really more like 15 if you count some of my earliest videos. But the reason why, I would make videos, part of it's just kind of my generation. I was born in 1993. And most people that are like millennials like me, we just kind of grew up on the internet, or we had, spent our teen years on the computer. And so, you just make videos just for the hell of it because it's fun. And about 10 years ago, I started a family. I do have a child. And for those first, I would say good 4 years, especially, I was just making videos on this channel because, I would raise my son during the day and I would make videos at night. And I just did it because it was something to do. I was a stay-at-home mom. I was raising my son, and when he would be in bed, I would work on a video. And I just liked it. It was fun. That's why I didn't think I'd get emotional talking about this. That's why I decided, to start reading the books. That's why I started reading, Child of Satan, Child of God. Not because I ever expected to make money on this channel. It's because I just liked doing it. Wow. I didn't think I'd get emotional. I just liked doing it. It was fun. In my spare time, I just like to read anyway. When I was in college, I remember back in 2013, at my first college, I lived on campus. The library was huge, 2-story, old library too. And it was what was called a federal depository. And I'll never forget being very lonely, I've always been a loner, And, I would stay late at night at the library in my college just reading books because I had no one to talk to. So, when I started doing that on this channel, it was really nice to see everybody that would comment and they would like the videos and stuff like that. And I know that not everybody cares for the random poems or short stories I might read on this channel. But once again, the goal of this channel was never to make money. It was just to have fun. It was just to have fun. I really love books that are rare and old, if not both. You know, obviously, that's why I've read a lot about Charles Manson and the Manson family. That's why, I've read Susan Atkins' book, at least twice. That's why I've read, Paul Watkins' book, stuff like that. Um, I'm kind of repeating myself, but you understand here. I would do this because it was fun and I liked it. But as I've gotten older, I don't have a ton of health problems, but I'll just be honest, every day. I'm sorry. Every day I hurt. Sorry. Every day I hurt in some way or some capacity. Um, you know, it's hard to talk about everything that happened, but because, growing up, I had a rough childhood, is the easiest way to put it. I've talked about it in a couple of videos in the past that are now deleted because people decided to try yelling at me about it. But, I had a rough childhood and, it did affect my neck. I have neck issues. I have arthritis in my neck, on throughout my whole neck, but, especially on the left side of my neck, down the left side, my left shoulder. And every day that it hurts really bad. It wasn't that bad until about 2 years ago. I don't really want to talk about this story completely because that would mean naming people who I know don't want to be named. But I'll just put it like this. 2 years ago, I had an accident with somebody that I really care about. And, I had to go to the doctor. To put it just very quickly, I had that accident 2 years ago in 2024. And the reason why it even happened is because before I hadn't been diagnosed with arthritis, and it hurt a lot. Not knowing I had arthritis and then having, something happen to me that only made it worse. As the doctor said, I got whiplash, so I'll put it like that. I had an accident that caused whiplash, and not knowing at the time I already had arthritis, the whiplash made it even worse. So, thankfully, 2 years later, I'm a lot better, but I still hurt. And on a scale of 1 to 10, typically, I'm never at 0. I'll put it like that. I'm never at 0. Typically, I'll be at maybe a 3. And a lot of it comes down to the whiplash, pull the muscle in a certain way to where it was stretched so far, beyond its capacity, that it took a long time to fix. It just caused this chain reaction of the muscle is pulled and my shoulder was popped out of place and the arthritis caused swelling. So it's taken a good 2 years to even get down to a 3 out of 10. Every day I take collagen and I take vitamin D. And I take calcium, the bottle's back there somewhere, and I take a Tylenol arthritis every day. And this isn't me trying to make people cry or be sad. I just want people to understand that I wake up every day in chronic pain. I do hurt, and my whole point is that I can't make videos all the time. And I like to take a break, if I can, to focus on myself. Get my life together, get my life straight. Because YouTube is for fun, but it's not sustainable. And so if you don't hear from me. It's really just me trying to not be in a ton of pain every motherfucking day. That's really it. I've been trying to work on my future, had to have some sort of career for myself so that when I am actually old, I'm not, bedridden. Because that's something I do worry about, being in so much pain to where I just can't even get up. I don't want to get all like crazy, and I hope this isn't boring, but to at least the people that have followed this channel for years now, I know that some of y'all have been wondering where I could be at, because I know that sometimes I can disappear, and I know that some of y'all get scared when I disappear. I just want y'all to understand why. Most of the time, believe it or not, most of the time I have a neck pillow that I rest on because, the arthritis in my neck will hurt sometimes. I just need something to support it. So most of the time when I'm recording audio or editing videos, I'm actually typically like this, because I need the help. I need the pillow. I need my shrimp pillow. I need the support, The pillow comes off when I record. A couple of years ago, I had talked to a really good friend, actually, ironically, before the whiplash accident ever happened. And this is a friend of mine or at least somebody I used to consider a friend, somebody that had been in 2 really bad car accidents, the second of which he actually nearly died from. And I'll never forget the last time I had talked to him about it. I had asked, but really just said to him, it's a miracle that you didn't end up addicted to opioids after what had happened to you. And I'll never forget how he told me that, he had to go to some sort of like pain management, therapy classes. And he told me that, it just comes down to how much you can tolerate. You build up your tolerance before having to take something, and I've always thought about that conversation with him. And honestly, I'll think about it for the rest of my life. Because when I'm hurting real bad, sometimes I have to take the arthritis medicine plus ibuprofen plus something else, because sometimes I can really, really hurt. And some days I don't hurt, nearly as bad. If I'm lucky, I'll be at a 1 out of 10, which is sometimes just nearly nothing. But I just want y'all to know that that's what's been going on with me. I'm just trying to work on myself. I'm just really trying not to be in pain every day. And I'm working to have some sort of career outside of YouTube, because with what I have going on with me medically, I can't do this all the time anymore. And life just changes, and we get older, and different problems arise, and then others fall back, they disappear. So I just really appreciate everyone that has watched this channel and has followed me for years. I appreciate all of the love that's been around. I just really appreciate it, As I move on with the career path I've decided to go into, I obviously don't want to talk about it publicly for obvious reasons, but I'll just let y'all know that there are certain videos that I have released in the past that will not be publicly available anymore. Because of the career path I decided to go into, I don't want certain videos to be popular to really be seen. There are certain things that just probably wouldn't look good considering what I decide to do for basically the rest of my life. So if there are certain videos that might end up missing or are already missing by the time you watch this video, just understand that's why. In the meantime, I'll upload whenever I honestly just feel like it, which won't be consistent anymore. I just have to be upfront. And there are certain things that I don't think I'm going to do anymore. I used to really enjoy like the true crime, strange, deaths and stuff like that, but even I've gotten tired of it, you know. And I feel like I've talked about Charles Manson about as much as you really can. Uh, there's other channels that talk about Charlie and the Manson family that go over things that I know I haven't gone over, but that's kind of on purpose too. There's certain topics about the Manson family I chose not to ever talk about. But that's it. That's all I can really say, This was only ever a part-time thing. This was never meant to be forever. In fact, my original plan, which this never worked out, I had originally hoped that I could have gone to graduate school and this would have been like my part-time thing while doing that. But that never worked out because of basically COVID. So there goes that. Anyway, you'll see me around. There's some stuff I have read, I have recorded, I just have to edit it, but that's going to come out in a while. That's not going to be for a while. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Take care of yourself.